there guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion number 267, Experiments, Explosives, and Extended Tags. I am not joined by anybody today. Afflixian would have joined, but he is at BlizzCon currently, so unable to join obviously. But we're here, and this is some pretty cool stuff. So the first part is written by Coverex, which is about the entity info, like when you mouse over an assembler or furnace or whatever. So the entity info is the information about the currently selected entity that appears on the right side of the screen, as they show here. They had two problems with its current state. As it is on the side of the screen, and the entity you're inspecting is generally in the center, it feels cumbersome to move your eyes from the entity to the info and back all the time. It is always appearing, and it's unnecessary to clutter the screen. It's always blinking there, while 99% of the time is not really needed. So we experimented with entity info as a tooltip next to the cursor when hovering over the entity. So they tested three different ways to activate it. The first one is that it always appears at the cursor, which of course has the disadvantage of it always being in the way. The second is it always appears but has some delay, or it only appears when a hotkey is pressed. They tested shift, which has a disadvantage that you have to actually do something to see it. We assigned each of the options to be tested by someone with the hope to figure out which, if any of them, is better than the current one. Backlab tested option 1, Twinson option 2, and Coverex option 3. Unfortunately, the result was that in the end, everybody preferred his option the most, and we had no conclusion at all. Then we realized that the flaw of the test was that each of us picked the kind of option we already knew we would probably like. After some discussions, we decided on the following. So this is likely what it will actually be in 17. The current version of the entity info will be the default, current meaning this one. We add an option to set a custom delay for it that is different than the normal tooltip delay or never. We add an option to activate it with a key. We add an option to have it next to the cursor or on the side. I think this is fantastic. I feel like they need to do this with more parts of the game, where they actually allow players to, decide for themselves what they want. Kind of like the research queue, which they did say they finally decided to make an option, I think, is what the conclusion was for the research queue. That's quite a while ago when they discussed that. But, it's like the same thing where instead of just like taking something out or not changing it at all, giving people the option themselves to, if it's easy enough for the devs to make it this way, to have the player be able to decide, do I want it this way or this way, keep it the same or whatever. I think this is really good. Coverex kind of mentions here that, 2 years ago he was under the impression that they need to eradicate all the weird options to make the game just work for everyone. Over time and after experience and feedback we have gathered, I start to realize that different people have different expectations and their brains are wired differently. Some options might be useless for 99% of players, but for the 1% of players it might be the most annoying thing to be able to customize it. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And then cliff explosives with construction bots. Thank God. There's a mod for this, but again, I feel like it's something that we shouldn't need a mod for. And our seeding did this. So the initial task, add support for robots to blow up cliffs was easy. One cliff gets marked for deconstruction, one robot is sent to blow it up. The tricky part comes when you want to account for the fact that one cliff explosive can blow up more than one single cliff. When a robot is sent to blow up a cliff, the system has to do a little extra work. Figure out which cliffs within the radius of the cliff explosives are also marked for deconstruction that aren't already going to be blown up by another robot. Recenter the drop position for the explosive on gravity center of found cliffs. Figure out which cliffs are within that area and record that one more robot is on the way to blow them up. This extra work isn't free, however the game isn't likely to have a large number of robots actively bringing explosives to blow up a cliff, since as soon as the robot is dispatched, it quickly finishes the job and the cliff is gone. Using the system, the game can track if a given cliff is going to be blown up, even if it isn't yet marked for deconstruction. This way you don't get weird overlaps and robots flying out to cliffs that will be blown up shortly by another robot, which is really nice. You can see a demonstration here. Boom, and it does present a little bit of lag, but not too bad, really. Actually, maybe it doesn't lag. It might just be my eyes. After making the system, it has made me think if I could apply some variant of it to robots building things, so a robot could theoretically grab 3 inserters and build all 3 quickly in series, and it is an interesting thought for another time. I think this is a fantastic thought for now. I know they're busy, but like this would be fantastic. You know, where robots would actually take like multiple items and go place them all in sequence or whatever, rather than just like one item at a time, basically. Because I believe construction bots only have like a one item carry slot, I believe. Because maybe I'm just like totally blind, but I can't recall like a construction robot taking multiple items and going and placing them before he returns to you to get more. I think they only take one at a time. So being able to take multiples and place them would be really nice. Rich and interactive text by Waybags. As mentioned in a previous Friday Facts, we're going to be adding some fancy text effects to the game in 17. In that blog post, we mentioned possibility of having some interactive text elements such as clickable icons and chat messages, blueprints, etc. They have an update on that, as we have now implemented several of these features. These tags are created in a somewhat general way. If you have console chat open and shift-click something, it will insert a tag. It will insert a chat tag. Blueprint tags. Hovering a blueprint tag will show the blueprint info, and clicking it will create a copy of the blueprint in your cursor. That's really cool. So we can see here, boom, blueprint, hot smile, and you can mouse over it, and then clicking on it will give you the blueprint, which is really, really nice. So you can basically just, it's basically like, kind of like the feature you have in other games, like the first one comes to mind is like Diablo 3 or similar games where like you can shift click an item and it will like post it in the chat and anyone can see the info. And then this has the additional option of being able to obviously get that blueprint yourself. Map pings. Shift clicking the map with the console open will create a map ping. Clicking a map ping will open the map at a specified position. So you can see here, console's open, you shift click, boom, it marks it on the map. Like that, which is pretty cool. Recipe tags. Hovering a recipe tag will show the full recipe info. So recipe stone brick, it'll actually show like literally everything you would see if you moused over it in the crafting menu, which is really cool. Hovering an armor tag will show you the armor and equipment layout for that specific armor, which is really cool because, you know, like when I play multiplayer, and I think a lot of you guys experience this when you play multiplayer, you know, you may be talking with guys like, hey, you know, what armor do you use? You know, what layout do you use? Or what's in your build suit? What's in your fight suit? And people like try to explain it. You know, maybe you want to know the exact layout. Well, now, once 17 comes out, you'll be able to literally just do this. And people can just look at it and be like, oh, okay, well, this is what he uses, which is really nice. As you can see above, each specific tag has some description text associated with it. I cannot talk today. Which lets you know you can interact with it. It will still be possible to insert plain icons that won't have any interactions. For now, interactable tags will only work in chat, but they might end up being allowed in mod GUIs too. So there you go, guys. Some cool quality of life stuff. I like all these changes a lot. It does seem a little awkward that you have to have the console open to do some of these. Well, not really. I guess not, because if you just shift click something without the console open, that is a hotkey in and of itself. What's that do? That like, if it's in the crafting menu, that like makes all of something, or if it's not, it like splits it. It's like, it's one of those things where it's so muscle memory for me. I actually don't even, when I try to think about it, I don't know what it does. Like, but I can just go in and do it by, you know. But so yeah, that makes sense actually, because it's already a hotkey for something. So you have to open the console to kind of make it not do the other thing. Anyway, all these are super cool. I really like the armor one for sure. And there you go, guys. So even more to look forward to whenever 17 comes out. That's going to do it. Hopefully next week we'll have someone to join us. And until then, thank you so much for watching. Love to hear your thoughts below. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you all. And do take care.